our bodies maintaining a healthy balance, we're talking about hormones. And Dr. Oz, our production, reaches the peak in our 20s, and then as we grow older, our levels decrease. Is it like our 40s and 50s that we realize, Houston, we got a problem?
We do. And it sounds depressing, but in reality, hormones are like musical instruments in a band. As long as they're all playing at the right level, then it doesn't matter that they're all decreasing, because they're all sort of going in the same direction. So let's tackle them one by one, because different hormones have different sequelae, different complications. And the first one we talk about is thyroid hormone. And if I can think of the best metaphor for the thyroid hormone, it's like the thermostat in your house. If it's just a little bit off, you don't feel right. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but you just know things aren't right in your body. If there's unexplained weight gain, if you feel like you're lethargic, if you're just not as sharp as you used to be, the first thing I usually think of is thyroid problems, in part because it's the #1 problem that especially women face in our community.
Yes, I hear a lot of my friends and some older women talking about having thyroid issues, and they went to a doctor, and that was their main problem.
Yeah, I think it's linked to vitamin D deficiency in a lot of folks. It's certainly linked to other allergies, like if you have gluten or dairy problems in your gut. It just turns on the immune system, so your own antibodies start to attack your body and kick off the thyroid. Easy to treat once you diagnose it, but the first thing you got to do is talk to your physician about it so they can take a simple blood test. If your hair is brittle, if you notice your skin is getting dry and flaky, these are very obvious cosmetic changes that you may notice in the mirror more than anybody else will.
Okay, testosterone.
Women don't think they have a testosterone problem. Most guys don't admit to it either, but the reality is if you're not shaving as much as you used to shave, it's a big sign that you're not creating that testosterone started out hair growth. The other thing about testosterone is it's vitally important for libido. So if you just don't feel so excited about that anymore, then you want to check that.
And can that happen in your 40s? I mean, when will men start realizing maybe there is a decrease in my testosterone? Can it happen as early as 40s or 50s?
Well, men and women have different issues here. The big problem for men is they get big bellies. When you have a lot of waste on you, if you're a little more portly than you should be, those fat cells will literally take the testosterone, which is made in your testicles, and they'll convert it to estrogen. So crazy as it sounds, that big belly will rid you of the testosterone you desperately need to be able to live your life normally. Women, when they go through menopause, they don't just stop making estrogen and progesterone, they stop making testosterone because they're all made in the ovaries. And so women, when they go through menopause, will see a sudden drop in their testosterone levels. Again, they're treatable, there are creams for this, but you got to be the one to figure it out for yourself, because all the treatments are based on whether you have symptoms of the problem.
Is this something in your 30s, early 40s that you should start kind of testing and keeping tabs on, or do people wait till it's too late?
No, they usually wait too long, and I would certainly start testing in my 40s for those. First of all, everybody ought to have a thyroid test early on. The testosterone test usually start in the 40s. But let me talk about estrogen and progesterone, because they're related to those factors. The estrogen levels, they fall as you go through menopause, and that fall usually happens pretty suddenly when you turn 45, 50, 55, that age range. But the progesterone, this is the big secret, it actually starts to drop when you're 40. And what progesterone does, it's the Valium for the female brain. It goes up in huge amounts when you're pregnant, and because of that, you can tolerate this craziness happening in your body. But when that progesterone begins to drop when you're 35, 40 years of age, you become less willing to tolerate little things that would not have normally bothered you.
So you tend to be a little bit crankier,
yes, exactly.
we can safely say.
So, and all these hormones have the same basic message. They work in ways that are very subtle. So if you notice things aren't right, and you raise your hand and say, I'm not happy with this, we can test with those levels, and they're almost always treatable very easily with either a pill or a cream.
And so people don't have to live with this and be cranky and no matter what it is, the thyroid and dry skin. I mean, there are ways that people can get help.
Hugely beneficial advances here, and one of the things I'm most proud of medicine is our ability now to finally be able to figure out these hormone issues in ways that truly are effective for you. So if the people in your life say, you're not happy, dear, think of your hormones first.
Okay, that's great advice. Thank you, Dr. Oz. And all these hormones play such a critical role. And Lisa, if people find themselves with a deficiency or imbalance, there are some ways to get back on track.
Absolutely. Yes, you do not have to live with the fatigue, the weight gain, or the emotional instability any longer. Dr. Tutera from SottoPelle is here to explain. It's so good to see you, Dr. Tutera.
Thanks. That's great to be here.
Do men and women suffer with these kind of deficiencies?
Oh, absolutely. And the facts show that women start losing their testosterone levels even as early as age 20, and by age 40 they've lost half of their production. Men have lost half of their production by age 50 for testosterone, and testosterone women actually produce 10 times more testosterone than they do estrogen, and so it is a markedly important hormone for both sexes. And
you will definitely notice when you start to lose that, all of a sudden that makes a big difference in your life when you lose that testosterone if you had so much of it. Yes.
Absolutely, especially when as Dr. Oz so quite correctly put it, when you start noticing that that you're not as energetic as you once were, and your brain is more foggy, and it's not cooperating, being able to multitask and problem solve, and you don't get the effects from exercise, and all of a sudden you got a gut when you didn't have a gut. Those are the signs that start up, and it's not just aging. These are correctable deficiencies in both men and women.
And you deliver it through a pellet therapy. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the pellet therapy was developed in 1939 at the University of Georgia Medical College by Dr. Greenblatt, and yeah, you can see a picture of these little things that we place underneath the skin. The beauty of using pellets is that it's the only form of therapy that delivers hormone under the body's own control. Heart rate and how, in other words, how fast the heart's beating and how much blood is pumping actually liberates the hormone, so that you get this continuous secretion of hormone. Pellets are the only form of therapy that actually closely mimic what the human ovary and testicle do, which is delivering hormone continuously, being able to elevate when you need more, and decelerate or decrease the dose when you don't need as much. Like when you're sleeping, you don't need as much as when you're in the gym.
Sure.
But you sure need a lot more when you're in the gym and trying to exercise and get benefit from it.
And I'm sure your patients like that better than having to remember to take a pill or put cream on. That can be messy. So it's an easy solution, too.
Absolutely. It takes a lot of the hassle out of having to do that. And, and it's applicable to both men and women. And they need to understand that getting tested, like Dr. Oz says, when you start those subtle signs in your 30s, don't just blame it on, I got a ton of things on my mind and I got all this stuff. Yes, but what happened? You had all those tons of things before, but now you're not responding the way that you used to. And so this is that's kind of a little red flag that goes up. And when that red flag goes up, it's time to go and get tested.
Don't ignore it. Thank you, Dr. Tutera. Very good information. We appreciate you being here today.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it.
So if you would like more information about Gino Tutera, of course, and SottoPelle, it's so easy. You can go to SottoPelleTherapy.com. You can also look at Facebook. There you've got your Facebook page, Hormone Replacement. Thank you again.